In the upcoming election, I want everyone to remember how they were forced to take an experimental treatment for a very, very weak virus and how much damage it's caused. I'm going to be putting that on these slides that come up next. Okay, here's one thing that they didn't tell us, which they should have, about these vaccines. Well, not vaccines, treatments. So here's another thing showing how bad this treatment was for people. Just linking that course, so look at this one as well. I'm just going to go through and give you links and information. This is a reason not to vote Democrat or leftist. Why did the CDC not tell people about the myocarditis from these treatments? They're not vaccines, they're just treatments. Why didn't we know about this? How many lives got lost because the scumbag Democrats pushing forth this false narrative that COVID was dangerous for everybody? So here's something every parent should have known before giving their children this treatment. But they didn't tell you because they want to control you, not serve you like they're supposed to be. Don't vote leftists or Democrats. And here they force you to wear masks even though they knew they didn't work. It's been proven more times than I could probably count that masks don't work for this particular virus. Or most viruses. So the Democrats are so horrible that they tried to close down, probably did close down bank accounts of anybody who said something against this vaccine. This is evil, and you should not vote for people evil, because what happens when they come after what you think are your bank account next? And the Democrats will come after every dime you have if you don't go along with their leftist mindset. So this is part of what these treatments cause to people dying from a vaccine when the virus would not have killed them. This is why you don't vote Democrat or leftist. So even after reports like this were coming out, they're still pushing people, even today, to take this COVID-19 treatment. It is not a vaccine, because it does do what a vaccine does, which is prevent infection and prevent spread. I say, here's how the Democrats act like the Chinese and being tyrants. Everybody who says something against this horrible treatment has been struck by government in some form, and that's wrong. In a free country, you can have different opinions. So we were told that ivermectin and other treatments that were not going to give politicians profits were bad when they have been proven to be safe and effective. So that's why you don't want to vote Democrat anymore. They want things that only make them more money, not things that will actually help you. So here we have a story about higher scoring children from the COVID treatments. It's not a vaccine. When the actual virus affected these kids at 0.00001%, they were virtually immune to this. It's stupid for them to be forced to take this treatment. And if Democrats held this from us, how many people knew about this actress and other people like her who were in so much pain from the side effects of the COVID treatment, they ended their lives? This is something people should have known about before taking these treatments and boosters of the treatments. Once again, more scientists showing horrible symptoms from the COVID shot. Why are they still pushing this on people? It's wrong. So here's somebody who was virtually immune to COVID because of his physical shape. If you're in really good shape, COVID-19 is not a threat to you. But he took the thing because of leftist, Democrat scumbags forcing everybody to take it by telling them a lie that it's dangerous to everybody. He had trouble with it, and his mother had trouble with it. They both probably didn't need it because most people are not affected by this virus. Now here's a story about what COVID-19 treatment should be called. Therapy is a better name for them. So what I hated about them, and which I learned more about them at the time, after I took my own, is that they're just an instruction set, and if the instruction set's not properly filled out, then the body doesn't have the proper information to fight off the infection, which is what is happening with these treatments that we're giving to everybody via force of losing your job or not being able to go to school. All this for, again, a thing that has a fatality rate of just 0.3%, and that's the people over 50. People under is like 0.3%. So it's really not for most people to be afraid of this thing. And so we have monkey virus in this COVID treatment, which makes no sense. So by my own theory, not something in the article, I think this is part of these globalists' plan to reduce population because those dumbasses think we have too many people on the planet. There's somebody, I think it was Bill Gates, who said, the vaccine to limit population. Something to that effect. That's not an exact quote, but I think that's what he said. So we got to make sure we don't take stuff that's not actually working. And we can't sue people about it if it doesn't work. So again, we have somebody talking about alternatives to the treatment that makes politicians rich being silenced or ignored. Take a look for yourself and you decide. Any other drug or treatment that had these kind of adverse effects will be removed from the shelves, or at least give an extreme warning for people to take them. This is only out because scumbag politicians, Democrats in particular, use this to control people and make some money for themselves. And say these articles show that a lot of the numbers about COVID were inflated and used to scare people into taking a treatment that made people rich but didn't make people well or protect people from getting sick. It did, as a fact, it did more harm than good, as the other things show you. So look at this poor little 13-year-old girl who, in her age group, had a 0.0001% chance of having any side effects from being infected with the virus. But the vaccine, which is actually a treatment, did far more harm than the virus ever could to this poor girl. This is why they use fear to get people to take this thing, and lies about how it was bad for everybody, when for most people it was nothing more than a cold. In a time when we need more police officers, Democrats force police officers to take a treatment which has now cut down a police officer who, based on the effects of the virus, would have been better off getting infected with COVID than taking the vaccine. This is the tyranny of Democrats, leftists. And so this is another example of stories that our mainstream media, because they're puppets of Democrats, are not telling the people about how deadly the treatment was versus the actual virus. I said here we have a debate talking about mandates versus liberty, and how the government should not be able to put limits on the people. The people have put limits on the government. But at least on the conservative side, you get people to actually talk about things, not demand you do things. So here again, we have cheap treatments being attacked over crazy treatments that are making people rich. This shows how the Democrat-controlled government and the scumbag leftists in government want to control you. They don't care about making you better or treating you. It's just usually experiments just to control and make you do what they say so they can control the population, which is a horrible thing. Again, we have the lie that people who are in Olympic level shape were at risk from COVID. They were not. It's a lie. And any doctor who's not a coward knows it and will say it. Again, government scumbags knew that the COVID treatment was not good, and yet they still keep pushing it, even till today. And this is from 2 years ago. Don't vote for these scumbags again. Get them in power. They're horrible. And so here again is another example of the lie that COVID-19 is dangerous to most people, making people afraid to help somebody in need. It's just a lie. And this is wrong. And Democrats are pushing forth the lie and hurting people. Don't vote for them. Sadly, New York is run by some scumbags who are making everybody take this horrible treatment. Hopefully they can be sued some kind of way so they pay for all the damage they've done. This goes to support all the people who said herd immunity was the best, and that people who had naturally acquired it, COVID, don't really need any treatments because they don't spread it and they usually don't get reinfected. So all that was suppressed by scumbag Democrats who just want to control you. Don't vote them in again. So more information pointing out that COVID was a scam and a fraud. I made a video for that. I'll put a link to that as well. This is crazy, but we need more information out there so we make better choices and less government bureaucrats telling us what to do who don't know anything. I say here we have a doctor who was ostracized, silenced in so many cases, who was doing something that actually would have helped people who were the small group that were at risk from COVID and would have saved a lot of money. Instead, Democrats and other scumbag politicians push forth craziness of locking things down, destroying businesses, when they could have been using all these treatments to make people better of the few who were affected, instead of using the treatment that has done so much damage, as I've showed you in other previous slides. If people who work for the company who makes these so-called vaccine treatments didn't want to get them, why should anybody else want to get them? You got to ask yourself that question. Read the article. Links below. Another example of a cheap, effective, non-adverse having drug versus the experimental treatment that make politicians rich, not being out there for people to see. Don't vote Democrat if you want to value your health and your freedom. Every scientist who's not a coward knew that the mask and closures didn't work, but they were silenced. Only the cowards who would turn in their scientific integrity just to keep their jobs were the ones who said otherwise. We don't need cowards, we need brave people in order to keep our country free. Don't vote Democrat. So these three headlines tell you all you really need to know about COVID and how it was not about health, but about harassment, power, control, wealth, nothing about saving people. It was a big scam by scumbag leftists and Democrats. Two videos here that show the damage when we have corrupt people in charge who put political things first over helping the people, as well as profit. Lots of people should go to jail. I just don't know how to send them there. These two stories should have been huge, but they weren't, because of our mainstream media, which is run by scumbags and our scumbag politicians. We need to get educated and not vote these people into power, leftists or Democrats. So here's the end of the video, and as usual I have some last minute slogans for t-shirts and mugs and stickers and all that I sell. These are just a couple examples, but the link is in the description below. It's the last part. So Don't vote Democrat. Don't vote leftist. And look at what you're voting for.